All right, today is April 27th, Sunday. Let's take a look at where we're at the market breadth. This is kind of how I like to check real quick here. We've got two charts, one on top of the other. The top chart is the S&P 500 stocks that are above the 5-day average here. So right now it's basically saying that 76% of all the S&P 500 stocks are above the 5-day moving average. And the way I use this is I converted normally they're the candles. I convert these over to the lines and then throw in a 3-day simple moving average, which is the red. And I look for the crossovers above the 70 and then also crossover below the 30 line. And as you could see, the last time we had a crossover previously it was down here, and then we had the market to move up. This is the S&P 500 in conjunction with the view of this 5-day moving average. You could usually it tends to stick with the flows of the ups and downs. So right now, what I'm seeing here is we're in the overbought area of the stock, and we do have a crossover. It doesn't mean that it's gonna crash down. It could revert and head up a little higher in some cases. But usually, once you get the crossover, it starts heading down. Like this previous crossover we've gotten down here. This previous crossover took a while, but it eventually went down here. And this crossover here also kind of lingered. This is the time when things traded sideways for a long time, but eventually got down here and then got the bounce. So as you could see how it has been working the last several times here. It's not perfect, but it's just another tool that I use to for my swing trading here. So now looking down here on the S&P 500, you can see the stock. We've gone rallying up here. We do have the blue line, the 50. It looks like it's going to bump its head on the 50. So if that happens, this is going to have to curve a little bit on the upside to reach up here. Otherwise, we may end up going back down below to the 30 line for that gap fill. We have a small gap fill down here in this area. This is the RSI 5, which I kind of use to also determine if we're overbought or oversold. I usually like to start accumulating once it's down here on, on the RSI 5. And you can see we're right at the 69 level, close to the 70. And it could trade a little longer up in this area, but we'll see. But this kind of gives you an idea. I don't want to be adding uh, large positions up in this area, which is this area as well. So that kind of keeps me out of trouble. You got the MACD, just the standard. You can see it's continuing to go up higher. We have not seen a shift to the downside yet. And I also got a regular slow stochastic, excuse me, uh, getting up in this area as well, overbought. So everything's telling me that everything's overbought. So just to be careful. All right. So that kind of just gives you an idea. And let's go ahead and go down to look at the regular daily markets here. We're going to start with the SPY, and on the daily here, you can see that this is the 200-day moving average, the 50, and the 20. And you see we broke above the 20, which is great. This is the 50 here. Maybe we'll be getting up to the 50 before the end of next Friday, and then get the pullback here, possibly back to this downward trend line. We do have a head and shoulder with the target price up here at approximately 605 on the SPY. So just something to watch. RSI 2 here, these dots, it's telling me it's overbought. And the RSI 5 down here, it's kind of the same thing. It is overbought. And the bottom's the standard RSI 14 kind of just helps me gauge if the larger time frame of the market is a positive negative. You can see we've been bearish all this time, all this red. Now we're just turning green here, which is just at the beginning, which could be account for the head and shoulder movement we're going to be getting up to this area. Yeah, so just trade one step at a time, but do it smartly and listen to what the markets are telling us. Quickly, let's look at the cues. Pretty much it's all doing the same thing. We got the head and shoulders with the price target up here. However, it's doing a lot better, 14%. It is looking a lot stronger, and here's the 50. I do think we are going to reach up to the 50 here, and then eventually maybe get down to the gap fill in this area. If not, it may just pull back a little bit and then continue high to hit this target and then go down to the gap fill. So either way, we don't know if it'll goes eventually up here first and then to the gap fill, or to the gap fill and then move back up. So let's just wait, watch and wait. And again, as far as adding new positions, I'm just going to hold back. If we do get to the 50 here, depending on how strong it looks, I may be starting to take profits up in this area, or wait until we get to the 200-day moving average here, somewhere in this zone. Looking at the Russell 2000, we do not have a head and shoulder pattern here. However, we have the downward trend line. We did break above it second day trading. We may get to the 50 here. I do not think we're going to get to the 200 as fast. We may be getting some kind of pullback before getting to the 200 here. You can see we're overbought here by looking at these green dots here. Also the RSI 5 is also green, and the momentum on the longer term is positive, which is good. That means that things are starting to pick up a little bit here. Let's take a quick look at the semiconductors, because that's a very important part of the stock market here. And you can see we do have a head and shoulder. Semiconductors do have a upside target, 19% from where it broke out here. So that is all very encouraging. Hopefully we can get up here if the head and shoulder does play out, which is great. And let's take a look at Bitcoin here, which I'm in as well. You can see it broke the trend line here, and basically started trading. I got into this position right here, and possibly I'm going to be getting out of this uh, on Monday. Once we get closer to the 200, there's a 200-day moving average. The good thing is it's starting to flatten out. That's positive. Then we're probably going to get the pullback, which will turn into the red dots. And then I'll start looking for an entry and see how things go. Looking at gold here, I did get out of gold right here on this candle here. I saw that it was closing below the doji here. So I decided, you know what, might as well get out. Party's close to being over, and you can see it's trading down. We'll consider picking up here using the Fibonacci from the bottom to the top. You Here's the 50% mark, and here's a 61.8, right around in this area. If we could get down to this area, I would look for a possibility of getting in this. Looking at the oil here, you can see oil showing weakness. It's under the 200, the 50, under the 20. So it may trade maybe up, also up to the 50, but I don't really see any trend breaking up to the upside as far as trends. No head and shoulder formation. We do have gaps up in this area all the way up to here, but that may take a little bit of time to get up there. All right, I hope you enjoyed this, and until next time, take care.